after she's fired, I don't know if you guys follow this, there was a whole back and forth between her and Jeremy Boring and Shapiro about like, all right, let's debate, right? And there was some negotiation about when and how and whatever. And it seemed like there was an agreement about timing and, you know, structure and no moderation and all this stuff. But the debate never happened.
After Candace Owens was fired from the Daily Wire, she and Ben Shapiro were supposed to debate, and it never happened. The reason as to why it has never happened so far may be interesting when Ben Shapiro paints himself as a huge advocate of freedom of speech. So we're going to take a look at this. Kyle Kulinski and Krystal Ball on Secular Talk got into this. So let's take a look at what they have to say, and we will unravel what happened as to the reason that, as of right now, Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens are not going to debate.
When and how and whatever. And it seemed like there was an agreement about timing and, you know, structure and no moderation and all this stuff. But the debate never happened. So people have been going, well, what the hell happened here? Why didn't this debate happen? Well, Glenn Greenwald got the scoop. Apparently, the Daily Wire, while they were publicly pretending like they wanted to do this debate with Candace, they were privately using a private arbitrator to issue a gag order against her so that she can't say anything. And by the way, and so that's the real reason the debate hasn't happened, is because they issued a gag order against her.
So this is funny to me. Now, first of all, I want to say that I think Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring and these other people at the Daily Wire, they're all loathsome figures. So there are no real winners in this situation. But I do think it's hilarious that Ben Shapiro, who is this guy who always wants to talk about freedom of speech and cancel culture and how the left is taking away everybody's freedom of speech, has issued a gag order against Candace Owens. And when you see the reason as to why, it gets even more hilarious.
And by the way, in obtaining this gag order, the things that they cited as they said, okay, she had a non-disparagement agreement. She violated that. And what they used as evidence of her violating it was that she had publicly asked for a debate. And then she had liked some tweets that were critical of the Daily Wire. That was their case.
That's enough to get a gag order?
How she had disparaged them, and yes, that they used in order to get a gag order.
That can legally allow you to get a gag order.
Apparently.
So let's take a look at this actual article, some of the issues from that Glenn Greenwald brought up in this issue. Glenn Greenwald had this to say. Here's the headline. As the Daily Wire publicly negotiated a debate with Candace Owens, it secretly sought and obtained a gag order against her. Due to a prior restraint order against Owens, the much anticipated Israel debate with Ben Shapiro appears to be off. So this is from on April 5th, Candace Owens publicly invited her former Daily Wire colleague Ben Shapiro to debate about Israel and the current definition of anti-Semitism. It was Owens' criticisms of U.S. financing of Israel and her criticisms of Israel's war in Gaza that caused her departure from the Daily Wire 2 weeks earlier. That's a big no-no for Ben Shapiro, who is a huge supporter of Israel. Both Shapiro and Daily Wire CEO Jeremy Boring responded by saying they would like to arrange the debate requested by Owens. So there is a tweet from Jeremy Boring from January 5th where he says, I don't know your international travel schedule, Candace. I know when you've wanted to talk to someone in the past, you've flown across the world to make it happen. You asked for a debate. Ben agreed to a debate. And then they give some stipulations as to why they wouldn't want a moderator because a third-party moderator could put their finger on the scale, blah, blah, blah. But he says here, the rest of this is just noise. So it's like, hey, we're ready to go. I guess he's speaking for Ben Shapiro, but we're ready to do this debate. So then we go back to Glenn Greenwald's article where he says, but the debate was never going to happen. That is because the Daily Wire, in secret and unbeknownst to its readers, sought a gag order to be placed on Owens after she had called for the debate. They did this under the cover of secrecy before a private arbitrator at exactly the same time that they were claiming in public that they wanted this debate and were even negotiating the terms with her. To this date, the Daily Wire has not informed its readers or listeners or viewers seeking to understand why the much anticipated debate had not yet happened, that they had sought and obtained a gag order against Owens. When seeking a gag order to be imposed on Owens, the Daily Wire accused her of violating the non-disparagement clause of her agreement with the company. To substantiate this accusation, the company specifically cited Owens' initial tweet requesting a debate with Shapiro as proof of this disparagement, along with concerns she voiced that Shapiro appeared to be violating the confidentiality agreement. To justify the gag order it wanted, the company also cited various criticisms of the Daily Wire and Shapiro on X that Owens had, quote unquote, liked. So liking certain tweets was enough to get them to want to issue a gag order against her. These are the tough guys on the right fighting for free speech who you would think would be saying, we'll debate anytime, anywhere. And they're issuing a gag order because they don't like that she had liked certain tweets. What a bunch of wimps and hypocrites. And Kyle Kulinski and Krystal Ball break this down further pretty well.
People disagreeing with that, but it's a fair position. Fine. Fair enough, right?
Right.
But that's not what they're doing. They're pretending like we're going to debate her, and then they're doing a gag order, and they're like, we're never going to debate you.
So weaselly.
It's so fucking weaselly. It's so weaselly.
Especially since Ben Shapiro is, he's such a free speech and ideas and debate me or whatever. I mean, he wrote a whole book about what was his book? Destroying Liberals with Facts and Logic or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, he had some dumb book about how to win every argument or something, and he sells mugs that say liberal tears on it, and it's
right.
Stop pretending like you're the guy.
Tough guy.
I'm in favor of reasonable discourse. No, your whole thing is I'm going to own the other side no matter fucking what, even if I got to lie and use Weasley tactics.
It's really something when you're putting me in the corner of defending Candace Owens. But
I know,
there's just
I know.
And that's the thing I agree with Krystal here. There are no good actors in any of this. These are all bad people on both sides of this. But Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring and these other people at the Daily Wire look so weaselly with this and so weak. Candace Owens really has the upper hand in this. And it remains to be seen whether this will hurt Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire if people would decide that they can't trust what they have to say. If they're going to be saying one thing in public about that they wanted to debate, and then behind the scenes, they're issuing a gag order against Candace Owens, who they're claiming that they want to debate, that makes them look really bad. And you have to wonder, if you're a fan of the Daily Wire, can you trust them anymore? I don't know. But it's a pretty funny situation, because it's fun to see these grifters tear each other apart. Same thing happened with Steven Crowder, with Ben Shapiro, and he's taken somewhat of a big hit. So it's fun to see Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro tear each other apart. So that's the thing that you got to wonder. Will this Daily Wire debate ever happen? Well, do you think that Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro will ever actually debate? And who do you side with here? Are you on the side of... So these are two lefties in Krystal Ball and Kyle Kulinski, who I don't think like either one of these people. But like Krystal said, she was really put in a corner in having to agree with Candace Owens and sort of support here. And it seems like the public opinion is on the side of Candace Owens as well, from what I've been seeing online. But what do you think? Do you side with Candace Owens? Do you side with Ben Shapiro? Do you hope they both fall apart as I do? Make sure to give me a like and subscribe and a comment, and I will see you in the next video.